Good afternoon, guys. It's Friday afternoon. I'm a little jacked up on some caffeine. Sometimes on Fridays I get a little twisted on some caffeine, get into content creation mode and just have a blast, maybe learn something about myself. Maybe you should do the same. We all need to learn more about ourselves. It's a never-ending process. This life is beautiful. What I wanted to talk about, what's coming to my mind right now as I'm sitting here watching some of my other stuff, is gratitude once again. Gratitude. Would your current issue even be fucking real if you were more grateful? Really, would it even be real? Would it even be a part of your paradigm and your lifestyle and your current state of situations if you were simply more grateful? If you simply had more gratitude for the things that are in your life? Stop and take a second and ask yourself that when you feel yourself facing an issue that isn't necessary, that you find maybe stupid, right? It doesn't make sense that it's there. You're kind of sitting there questioning yourself like, really, I'm actually mad about this right now? This feels fucking retarded. Like, I'm excuse my language tonight, y'all, but if you find yourself in these moments, I know I've had this so many times in my life, and it was only somewhat recently, the past year or two, that I came to the realization that I needed to slow down and be more grateful. That if I was simply being more grateful on a consistent basis, as I've been in other areas of my life, as I was at other times of my life compared to then, the situation wouldn't even be the same. How I felt about it wouldn't even be anything at all. I would be moving on to the next goal, to the next situation that I have more of an influence on, that I can do better at, that I can have more fun doing. But instead, I'm caught up in the moment. I'm caught up in this little inconsistency, this little aggravation, this irritation, whatever the fuck it is. Whatever it is that you're getting caught up on that day, right? Because we all know we have different days. We have times where we're feeling worse than others, right? Every day's different. Every day comes with its different set of battles and things we must face. But in reality, who's facing these issues? Who's facing those issues? That's the question you got to ask yourself on a day-to-day basis. Who am I? Who is it that's facing the issues of today? Is it going to be me and who I really want to be, my true inner authentic self? Or is it that fake side of me that pursues bullshit like pleasure and whatever substance I can find, whatever TV, whatever it is that I can find that has no purpose? Is it purposeful me or is it pleasurable me? Who is it that's behind the motherfucking wheel today? Who is it that's driving this car? Who is it that's walking in front of these other people? Who is it today standing here in front of you? Is it someone made of conviction? Is it someone who actually does what they say they're going to do? Or is it that sad side of yourself that you really don't like to talk or think about, and you really would rather just avoid all your issues altogether and hope they just go away? Yeah, fuck that shit. We all feel like it at times, but it's about getting out of that. It's about resolving the issues that bring you there. Because we shouldn't feel like that. I'm sorry, I said we all feel like that at times. Everybody has felt like that before, most likely. That's a better way to say it. I don't feel like that normally or consistently whatsoever because I know who I am. It's internalized. I wake up knowing it. Now, it helps to do things that consistently that keep me there, that continue to ground it into my paradigm, into how I feel about the world, right? It helps to do that for sure. If I was to stop doing that for an extended period of time, yeah, I'd probably lose sight of the vision, right? Because that vision is strong enough. But it's because that vision is strong enough to keep our present moment awareness on what we should be grateful for, and therefore the action we needed to take to fulfill the purpose of our dreams, our destiny, our vision. But it starts with that gratitude. It starts with being grateful for what you do have. With being like, hey, I do have this and I do have that. This is bad. I don't like that. But I do have these things, and these things can help me change that. These things can help me make a different situation and solution to my issues. Instead of just persisting in that ungratefulness, that self-pity, truthfully. We all know there's a massive sense of self-pity and victimization that's going on in America and maybe the rest of the world. I'm not exactly sure. kind of uncultured in that part. But I do know what's going on to my own degree in America and with the children, teenagers, whatever. There's a lot of self-pity and victimization. It's being taught in many different ways, so on and so forth. I won't get into that. But there's also a large sense of unconscious victimization, right? Like these people that I was talking about before, the kids, the teenagers, the young people who are doing it most of the time, and people who are just in terrible situations because of their own actions, like anybody, right? They're like, it's like they take pride almost in self-pity. Like they're outwardly expressive that you should feel bad for me, right? There's a different group of self-pitying people that is completely unexpressive of this self-pity. Now that's better in certain ways, right? Self-pity is a load of shit to begin with, but what I'm talking about here is the unconscious self-pity, the sleeping giant that reigns free and reigns terrorizing in many different people's minds. That, oh, well, you know what? This is just life. I just got to get used to it and, figure it out, right? Like, yeah, figure it out. That's great. But when you succumb to the understanding that life isn't in your control, that everything happens for negative reasons for you, that, of course, I just have bad luck. Of course, here we are again. When you succumb to these thoughts subconsciously for long enough, you give up that human spirit. You do give up your power. Though you're not outwardly expressing it as much as some others might be with the victimization, the self-pity, you're still doing it subconsciously to yourself internally. And what's scary is you don't even realize you're doing it. You don't even realize that that's where you are, and that's what's having such a negative effect on everything that's going on in your life. I felt this for some time, right? I've told y'all before I had extreme expression problems for a long time, along the first 3/4 of my life, we'll say. And after, so with that being said, when I moved on into my more adult years and realized that my life was in my own hands and I had to take ownership, there was a side of me that still didn't accept that. Like for a long time, it took me a while to accept that completely, as it does. But in that, before I really started realizing, I subconsciously had that victim, right? That victim in the lower sides of myself that held me down, that kept me in these lower states, that made me feel like bad. I had bad luck, that it was just here I am. This is what's normal for me. This is what's natural. Of course it didn't work. Of course it's this way for me. And that is a load of shit. Is a self-fulfilling prophecy. In fact, that was one of the first things that I learned about in regards to this that really began to shift this in particular, this gratitude, this different sense of self. It was the idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Basically what it means is you're going to live up to your own self-image. It's the same thing as self-concept, self-image. What you believe to be true of yourself is, but it starts with what you believe to be true and to be natural for you, for your life, for everything you've ever experienced. And if you can really begin to internalize that and understand that, by choosing to be grateful, by choosing to have gratitude in moments where it's not so fucking easy, you will make leaps and bounds in your self-development process, in your process of becoming a self-master, a personal leader, someone who can faithfully lead others in the right direction because it's what's right, because it's what needs to happen. Instead of being unaccountable and throwing in the towel and being a victim and being ungrateful for what you do have and what you can make a difference with. You see, it's up to us, nobody else, to understand our position and our place in this life. And if we don't choose to realize that, we might as well just kick the bucket nowadays. We might as well just kick the bucket because we're going to live a life of misery simply because of our own choosing. Don't actually kick the bucket. Don't, because you can always make a fucking difference. It doesn't matter how old you are. Yeah, it gets older the older you get, harder the older you get, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's still a choice. It's still possible. It's still better than living in miserability. Whatever. Guys, be someone who is grateful. Be someone who can make the difference in their life and chooses to do so because they know they can. Because you know that there is a different reality out there for you. Because you take time to be grateful for what it is that you do have. And you continue down the path, man. And it just starts with gratitude, because once again, gratitude is action. When you see how much you have to be grateful for, you take action. You make a difference. You do what it is you have to do because you know what it took. Part of gratitude is seeing and knowing what it took to have what it is that you have. That's why you're grateful. I digress. I'm going to cut it off here before I go screaming at the mic anymore. Guys, I love you. I hope you enjoyed this. This is going to be, well, I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but whenever I do, I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Guys, I'm going to be opening up a Discord here soon. Let me know if that interests you at all in the comments below. I'll be linking it sometime soon when I get everything set up. So, let's go get them, guys. Have an amazing weekend. Have a great Labor Day. And let's just go have an amazing rest of our life. I love you. Let's go.